year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you are doing well. Yes, I do need to remove Son from the intro banner. That is hopefully going to happen over the next week. Obviously, that was made in pre-season. Son has since left. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. This is the knee-jerk stream for Game Week 6. Lots to discuss in this one. Presumably, a lot of this will just basically be about how do I get Haaland in? Which forward do I sell? Which midfielder do I buy? I think so many people are going to make that move this week, or there's going to be a lot of wild cards active. Either way, Haaland is going to be massively more owned after this week than he was going into Game Week 5, and obviously he did score against Arsenal. Reinders, by the way, as I said on the deadline stream, he'll get something this week because of the amount of times I've said to bench him, and he got an assist, he got 2 defensive contributions, and he was on 2 bonus when I finished, or at least last time I checked. I don't know if he's still on 2 bonus. Your crash is so bad. I think we probably need to not exaggerate too much. Yes, he didn't get too many chances, but I mean, how many chances did Haaland have in this game? Okay, he scored the one big one he got, but it's not like he was having 4, 5, 6 chances in this game, right? And there was only a deflection that took the ball away from Yorkresh. Otherwise, he had a free shot at goal from like the 6-yard box. So, you know, fine margins. But I think Yorkresh is mostly in for the good fixtures that are coming up anyway. The fact he played 90 minutes, quite nice, I would say. I guess Reinders is back on the menu. I mean, Reinders was never off the menu. People just get they're just very quick to sell players that blank. And look, sometimes it works out. Like Wirtz has been rubbish, Watkins, Rodgers. But, you know, Reinders was a bit unlucky not to get anything in the last game against Man United. He got his return today. Like, he's just a good option. And he's fallen in price, by the way. He's fallen in price to 5.6 million, which is kind of crazy. He went down in price overnight. I got 66 points this week, 18 from my bench boost. My bench boost was Dubravka, 4 points, Senesi, 8 points, Goodmanson, 4 points. He got Defcons at the end. And then Dewsbury Hall, 1 pointer, which I kind of knew he wasn't going to get me too much. So 18 points, I take that. So I got 48 points without my bench boost, so a pretty rubbish week overall. But it's a green arrow into the top 1 million. So I was 4.3 million before I wildcarded in Game Week 4. Now I'm just inside the top 1 million. So the last couple of weeks have gone pretty well. Will it continue to go well? We'll have to wait and see. My initial plans for next week, by the way, are Salah and Mateta to Reinders and Haaland. That gives me enough money to do Goodmanson to Gabriel in 7. There is a slight temptation, only very slight, to do Salah Yorkresh to Saka Haaland. Saka is back now. He came on at half-time. But I don't think his minutes will be as good now as they used to be because of Madueke. And also, Yorkresh probably has penalties. So I'm not so sure I really want to do that move. And moving Salah and Mateta was kind of the plan all along. Dewsbury Hall is on 4 yellow cards. Yes, he is. Oh, Senesi will be on 9 points, yeah, once he gets a bonus point. But yes, it's 18 overall for my bench boost. Dewsbury Hall is on 4 yellow cards. I think he was a little bit unlucky to get that yellow card against Liverpool, to be honest, for taking a free kick early. But it is what it is. So 1 more and he's suspended. I could really do with him not getting it in Game Week 6. What I really want is Dewsbury Hall to get the yellow card in Game Week 7, so he misses the Man City game in Game Week 8, because I plan to bench him that week anyway. But honestly, I'm not too concerned with the way my squad is set up. That might come back to haunt me By the time I need him, he might be suspended. But all of my defenders are pretty much playable any game apart from Goodmanson, just because of the defensive contributions. Honestly, maybe this is not the case for midfielders, but for defenders, I really don't think the player pool has been opened up massively with defensive contributions. I think we just have different defenders we're choosing now. Like, you're going to see so many wildcards this week with Senesi, Anderson, Tarkowski, and Gabriel. Like, so many. And to be fair, there's always a template every single season, but I just can't see, apart from doing Goodmanson to Gabriel potentially in 7, I cannot see me making a defender transfer for a very long time. Like, what's the point? I'm selling like 4.5 million defenders that get 4 points most games. Might as well just keep them. And I'm pretty happy with most of my attacks. So I kind of want to get Haaland this week and then get Gabriel potentially in 7 and then just roll for a few weeks and see what happens. Obviously, Cole Palmer now might not be an issue, might not be an option because he's suffering with this groin problem that seems to be ongoing. Saka, do I really want him? Maybe. I'd have to sell Gyökeres. I don't know. I feel kind of settled with my team at the moment. I think it's looking okay. Also, I've been streaming for at least 2 minutes. Does no one want to talk about the Bruno Fernandes 10-pointer? Nobody want to talk about that? Does nobody want to talk about João Pedro's blank? To be fair, actually, I'm not even going to go there with João Pedro because I thought he played really well considering Chelsea were down to 10 men for most of the game. And João Pedro is just a good pick, but it is always fun when he blanks, especially last week when people were asking me if I regret not going for him on wildcard. Just a shame that Evan Nilsson couldn't capitalise. He blanked against Newcastle. The Bournemouth-Newcastle game, by the way, was so dire. I watched from about I think it was about 20 minutes into the first half. I started watching. Incredibly boring game. Hardly any chances for either side. Saka and Mateta or Gyökeres and Njai. I mean, I really don't know what to make of Gyökeres' minutes. Because he's just played 90, so I probably shouldn't be down on them, right? So if Gyökeres is going to continue to start, I think I prefer Gyökeres and Njai, 2 penalty takers. Probably wildcard in game weeks 9 to 11. Donnarumma a better Sanchez replacement than Raya for now. I was thinking watching that Man City game, City are going to get more clean sheets this season. Donnarumma is pretty good. Like, you know how dominant Arsenal can be from corners. I mean, I don't think they really had a good chance from any of them. I might be misremembering one here or there. But a lot of them, Donnarumma just punched the ball clear. Like, I know he's not as good as with his feet, etc., as Edison, but I feel like he's a much more commanding goalkeeper. So I think in terms of clean sheets, City will do well. I still think Arsenal will end up getting more. I guess it's a bit closer now. I have Wood, Sunderland at home, Watkins, Fulham at home, then Burnley at home, and João Pedro don't want to sell him. Which striker to remove to get Haaland? Chris Wood, in my opinion. Just because Watkins has got the better fixture in 7. Bruno is the GOAT. We're going back to Europe, right? Probably not. Probably not. If anything, should have been more than 10 points. Why did Casemiro have to go and get himself sent off? I do think the second yellow was extremely soft, but why give the ref a decision, you know? Reinders, what a player. Yeah, I'm probably just going to bring him in this week. Then I'm going to have 3 midfielders under 6 million. Paquetá, Dewsbury Hall, and Reinders. What a weird season already. Looking forward to your free hit video this week. I probably won't do a separate video, but I'll include a free hit team in the game week preview like I've done a few times. Been saying Fernandes is good for a while and has finally paid off the last few weeks. Yeah, I said this on my video earlier, and I said it to FPL Harry on Twitter. I think I think the way he scored his points so far this season, just for whatever reason, just frustrates people. Like 2-2, 10-2, 10 is just over 5 points per game. If the points had been a bit more spread out, so like 5-7-2, 5-7, I think people would be happier with him. Like, he's fine. I think he's fine as a pick. Again, not essential. You don't have to pick him, but I think this idea that he's a bad pick has just got to stop, I think. On Wildcard 8, would you rather Mateta or Watkins? Mateta probably, slightly cheaper and on penalties. I mean, Watkins might be on penalties, but we don't really know right now. 2 free transfers, Haaland and Reinders in for Watkins and Gakpo, or Haaland and Foden in for Watkins and Foden. That's obviously not Watkins. Or Haaland and Foden in for Watkins and Gakpo, is it? I don't know. Foden I quite like as a punt. His ownership's going to be quite high. It depends what that's going to stop you doing. I think Foden's fine. I guess the thing I always struggle with is how long is he going to be fined for? That's the problem. Took out Salah, Mateta, Johnson for Haaland, Njai, Kudus for a -4. Worth it. Could well be, yeah. Might take another -4 game week 7 to bring in your question, Gabriel. I probably wouldn't do that, but yeah. No, Bruno's not essential, never has been. FPL tomorrow, 38 months, thank you. Brought Palmer. Oh, yeah, Palmer we got to probably talk about quite a lot. Brought Palmer in this week for Vert, so annoying. Was going to bring in Haaland and triple captain this game, but now I'm kind of forced into wildcard. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, Palmer might be fine for game week 6, but the fact that he's struggling with this groin problem, like ongoing, is really not ideal. Peak FPL when Haaland blanks versus Burnley and Salah Halls versus Palace. Could happen. SK Warren, new member, thank you. Thoughts on bringing in Richarlison on wildcard? I just don't know if I would take the risk with that minutes, but the fixtures are pretty good. He's quite cheap. He is their first choice, number 9 right now. But Solanke's back on the grass. He could be back soon as well. Yeah, I personally wouldn't go there, but I don't hate it. Rodgers to Kudus for a -4. Rodgers might fall in price, and he's rubbish. Already have Semenyo, Reinders, Dewsbury Hall. Any other alternatives? I would -4 Rodgers out, no matter how frustrating he's been. Welcome to the top 1 million club, nosebleed territory. It feels like that, yeah. The super chat was misunderstood. Was it if you'd sell Watkins or Mateta this week for Haaland? Yeah, Mateta. 75 bench boost, shout out Truffert and Cash. Very nice. My points total so far, I don't know, just over 250 or 2. No, I think it's like close to 280 now, 277, something like that. This is a good talking point. Upside of triple captain over wildcard. Honestly, there's no upside in triple captain over wildcard. You either need a wildcard or you don't. Like I would not make any decisions. What's the best way to articulate this? Yeah, I don't know. You either need a wildcard or you don't. I think it's actually that simple. I wouldn't delay your wildcard if your team's in a mess just so you can triple captain. I don't think that makes any sense. There will be ample opportunity to use your triple captain later on. Like, just go and look at game weeks 13, 14, 15 and the fixtures that Haaland and Salah have around that time. You're not going to be lost for triple captains later on. So, if you need a wildcard, just use it. And I'm not saying you have to use your wildcard, of course, but if you're thinking about it, you must be close to it. But it feels good to get rid of your first bench boost. Yeah, and obviously it feels better because it's done nicely. I was a little bit worried after basically Dewsbury Hall got a 1-pointer, and then Dubravka and Goodmanson lost their clean sheets almost straight away, like in the first 5 or so minutes or something like that, if I remember right. And then Goodmanson just got the 4 points at the end, which is quite nice. Thoughts on going in Burma over Bruno? I mean, I don't hate it because you save a bit of money, but I still think Bruno is probably the better pick over the long term. 75 points, no chips, Stack, what a hero. Stack, yeah, I mean, I believe it or not, I did consider Stack instead of Dewsbury Hall. But I just felt like I preferred Dewsbury Hall long term. But honestly, I would just go Stack now. And I know it looks really knee-jerk after the 15-pointer, but that guy's going to get you some defensive contributions along the way. Dewsbury Hall probably isn't. I don't think the attacking numbers for Dewsbury Hall are necessarily going to be that much higher either. And Stack's taking some set pieces as well. So Stack's the one, I think. Should I sell the fraud Watkins or Mateta for Haaland? I think just because it's Liverpool this week, probably Mateta. But the money by selling Watkins might come in handy. So it depends what your other kind of plans are. Do you need that cash? King, Xavi, Bruno Fernandes, or Foden as a Palmer replacement. I think Bruno Fernandes is the best. Xavi Simons, I think you've got to dodge for now. I suspect his minutes will end up being really good, but the benching would probably put me off a little bit. So I'd probably go Bruno Fernandes over them. I really don't mind Foden for the next 2. And look, maybe he's going to go on a run of starts now, but he's just not my kind of pick because I can't guarantee those starts continue. And it would just frustrate me if he gets benched. Whereas with Bruno, at least you know he's going to keep playing. Is Tarkovsky essential given the defensive contributions? Not essential, but he's a really good pick. And I would probably include him on wildcard. Something is telling me not to triple captain Haaland, don't know why. Possibly because so many people are going to do it and it feels wrong to I don't know, sometimes when lots of people do the same thing, it's like safety in numbers, but sometimes you get that, oh, maybe actually that, I get that sometimes. Like the João Pedro thing. You start to question actually, is this a bit overrated? He's a good pick, but is he that good? It's like Haaland's a good triple captain, but is he that good? So sometimes like it's like strength in numbers, and sometimes you question the numbers, right? Which do you prefer on wildcard? Njai, Isidore, or Caicedo, Strand Larson? Okay, so Isidore, I know he scored. Is Mayenda injured? Otherwise, surely there's like minutes concerns there, no? Maybe he's injured and I just don't know. But Mayenda was starting originally, right? So Mayenda got, 10 minutes off the bench. So Mayenda was starting the first couple, and then Isidore starts. That just feels like a long-term headache to me. I just, surely even Sunderland fans can't guarantee that he's going to keep starting Isidore, so I probably just wouldn't go there. Evan Nielsen poor today. I just thought Bournemouth in general were pretty poor. I think Semenyo did well overall, like with all the, obviously he got a lot of defensive, like Semenyo finished on a 5-pointer with no attacking returns today, which is quite nice. I mean, in terms of chances created and shots and stuff, I don't think Semenyo was that good either, to be honest. Sell Mateta or Ekatike for Haaland. Ekatike, because his minutes are surely going to go down now Isak's there. Would you start Van Dijk or Van der Ven? Probably Van der Ven. I thought Calvert-Lewin looked sharp yesterday. Honestly, I do not hate that pick. I just think we've always got that worry in the back of our minds that he's going to get injured. But if he keeps playing, he's a good option for 5.5. And I'm almost certain he'll be on penalties as well. Activate wildcard now or by the deadline. If you know you're going to wildcard, you should just activate it to get on the price changes. Like you should get Haaland in now before he goes up in price. Foden to Saka or Evan Nielsen to Yorkresh, 2.2 in the bank. I wouldn't buy Yorkresh this week or Saka. Like Foden's got Burnley at home. Evan Nielsen's away to Leeds. I think just keep both and roll the transfer. If you have to do one, I would probably go Yorkresh out of the two. Team, okay. What's better? Wildcard this team. Do Wirtz, Ruta to Sanchez. Enjoy. Do you need a wildcard? I mean, Reinders is good. Watkins is okay. Wood's got a good fixture. You've already got Haaland. Like, what are you wildcarding to if you've already got Haaland? Sanchez should... By the way, Sanchez is suspended for one game and he'll serve that in the Carabao Cup. So he'll be available for game week 6 as long as Maresca keeps him in the team. Konza's okay this week. Milenkovic is good this week. Porro's fine this week. Bruno, good. Wirtz is a problem, I guess. I think you've got Haaland already. I don't see what you're wildcarding for. Unless I'm missing something. At 38 months, thank you very much. Donnarumma over Ray. Yeah, I spoke about this earlier. Oh, then you can get both Saliba and Gabriel. But would you not prefer Ray, Gabriel, and Vardiol? Or, Van Dijk. I think I still like Ray and Gabriel and a different defender from a different team. Obviously, can't guarantee the minutes of Vardiol, but they're probably quite good while Nori's out. Like, Saliba is probably slightly better for defensive contributions than Gabriel, but he's not going to pick them up that often. And his goal threat's not as good. I really don't hate triple Arsenal defence, but Saliba is not all that interesting. Going Bruno over Palmer for now and keeping the money in the bank feels like the compromise to going Salah is too much. Yeah, fair enough. I have looked at how I can get Salah in, but it's for a hit, and it involves selling Bruno and Yorkresh. I just don't think I really want to do it. I think I've just got to go without for a while. Maresca was a bit angry in the press conference after the game, saying he would have preferred to be 1-0 down rather than... Yeah, I saw that. But I still think Sanchez will probably be back in, despite how annoyed he might have been. Bench Yorkresh or Stack? Come on now. I know Stack's a good value pick, but I don't think we're quite at that level yet. 5 games in, and I see that defensive contribution points... you see defensive contribution points as a good addition to the game. Do you agree? I think it's fine. I don't think it makes the game better, in my opinion. I think it's fine. And I don't think it's massively opened up the pool of players either. Like just wait until you see wildcards this week. Mr. Super Chat, I think, was that Tuna? Oh, no, I didn't see that. I didn't miss that one. I answered it, actually. Salah and Haaland or no Salah and Haaland? Salah and Haaland, I think. I don't think you can go without Salah or Haaland right now, because what other premiums do you buy? Like Saka and Palmer don't feel completely great right now. Defensive contribution points feels like the death of fullbacks. This is what I'm saying, right? So all it's done is switch players we're looking at buying. We're no longer looking at fullbacks who might get us an attacking return. We're looking at people that can get us consistent defensive contributions. Now, next season, we might get more fullbacks that are attacking, and it might make things more interesting. And FPL might price the likes of Anderson, Senesi like at 5 million. So they're not so easy to pick. So maybe pricing's a slight issue here as well. But I mean, look, put it this way: if they remove defensive contributions, I wouldn't care, basically. If they keep it in, I also don't really care. Why'd you have Paquetá? Just some defensive contributions, some attacking returns, penalties, less than 6 million. That's about it, really. I'm not going to play him this week. I'm probably not going to play him in game week 7. He's got good fixtures game week 8 onwards. Seems okay. Plan was Watkins to Haaland and Salah to Foden for a hit. Follow plan or wild card. You could maybe wild card. Like Wirtz, I guess, is a slight issue. I mean, Wirtz probably starts next week, but he's just not great. Xavi Simons could be a slight issue as well. You can get Haaland in one go. Saves you taking a hit. Straight red's... No, straight red's not always 3 games. It depends what kind of red it is. Like if it's violent play or violent conduct, or whatever, that's 3 games minimum. What do you think about free hit? It can definitely work. If you want to keep Salah, like if you're on a Salah team, which is the main reason to free hit, so you can get Haaland, and you want to keep Salah long term, free hit is still definitely viable. I've not completely ruled it out. I'm like, it's maybe like 1 or 2% chance now, so it's quite low. I've not completely ruled it out because I just don't want to completely write Salah off as a pick. But I do think the Salah Mateta to Reinders Haaland just frees up the money for Gabriel, and all of a sudden I quite like my team a bit more. Like having Reinders instead of Mateta and that extra money could be quite nice. Will I triple captain Haaland? I feel like I probably will, but I'm not completely set on it. I think it gives some players playability that you would never choose, even if they were good, for example. Yeah, again, it's definitely... Yeah, so I think when I say that it hasn't increased the player pool, I'm talking mostly about defenders. I think right now for midfielders, it probably has opened the player pool a little bit. Like Caicedo, Stack. I don't know who else is getting defense contributions at that kind of price. But yeah, maybe a few players. Like Caicedo, probably Gravenberch as well. Although I don't know how many defensive contributions he's been getting. I've not checked. But yeah, midfielders maybe more so than defenders. Sell or Villa, Emery is losing it. Yeah, it's difficult to keep hold of them, but unless you're wildcarding, I think people are going to have to keep some of their Villa players. They've probably got bigger issues to deal with. Oh, Elliot Anderson, yeah, fair enough. That's another player that's doing pretty nicely, or sometimes doing nicely. Xavi benching through my wildcard wide open. Where to go now? 7.1 and below. Kudus or Njai probably, or just go really cheap. Xavi Simons will be worth it. Frank will play him in the 10 now after his cameo. Should have won a penalty. Yeah, I suspect you're probably right, but I just don't know if I'd bother taking the risk. That's all. I think number 10 will end up being his role, and I think he'll play it quite consistently, and his minutes will probably be pretty good. The benching kind of puts me off a little bit. I think in that scenario, you've got to be really sure that he's going to be excellent value for the price. Like if you can just get someone who's just as good or almost as good, who's definitely going to play, you probably just go that way, right? But if I had Xavi Simons, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be selling him. I'd probably just play him next week. That was never a pet. I haven't seen it, so I don't. I'm gonna take the Arsene Wenger approach and say I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure. This is my team for next week, by the way. So Raya, Anderson, Senesi, Van Dijk is my defence. Salah, Bruno, Semenyo, Dewsbury Hall, Evan Nielsen, Mateta, Yorkeresh. But that will be Reinders and Haaland instead. I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Can you field a team with Salah, Haaland and Bruno? I think it's difficult, to be honest. I think you've got to drop Bruno, which not an issue. Is Kudus and Xavi an option? Yes. Yeah, I guess so. If one is good individually, then if they're both good individually, then they're both good together. Yeah. That or Wildcard 8, because by that you'd have to look at your plans for the next couple of weeks as to whether Wildcard 8 is better. I can't look through your whole team and decide the plans for the next couple of weeks. But Wildcard 8 is definitely something to think about. Like if you can get Haaland for free this week and you want to go back to Salah in 8, then definitely consider wildcard 8. But if you're not like the only reason I would delay wildcard now is if you want to get Salah back. So if you want to transfer Haaland in, then get Salah back pretty soon. And I suspect a lot of people watching this do not want to do that right now. In which case, what's the point in delaying the wildcard? Maybe if you're already set up with a lot of Arsenal, a lot of Man City, you've got Man United players and you want to get through the Sunderland game before you sell, then that's fine. But otherwise, most people should probably go 6 instead of 8. But it depends on your setup. Like if you've got Spurs defenders against Wolves at home this week, really good. So you don't necessarily need to be you don't necessarily need to be wildcarding, but you'd have to look at your own team and decide really. Would you swap Mateta for Richarlison for this week? Probably not. No. If you're not selling Mateta to someone like Haaland, you probably just keep him. I think he's okay to keep. Like after Liverpool at home, it's Everton away, Bournemouth at home in 8. Arsenal away in 9 is tough, but actually the games after that are pretty good for Palace. So I don't mind Mateta as a longer term hold. Bench Wood, Rodgers or Kudus? Rodgers, I think. Should I go for Mbeumo or Bruno? I still prefer Bruno, but I do like Mbeumo as a bit of a punt. His minutes should be pretty good. How are you getting Haaland into your team? Selling Salah. Reinders or Njai? I think Njai's better. I just love a nailed on penalty taker. But what does the money from Reinders do? So for my team, for example, if I want to get Gabriel in 7 for Goodmanson, then the most I can spend on the midfielder for Salah is 6.4 million and Njai is 6.5. So that's why I can't go for him. Now, if Njai was 6.4, I might take the risk and get him. But obviously, I don't give myself any breathing room to get Gabriel then. Wolves are our bogey team, don't buy Spurs. I really don't think it matters the way Wolves are playing this year. They just lost 3-1 to Leeds at home. Would you wildcard 6? Would you wildcard go 6 if you free hit how 4? I'm not sure what that means, sorry. If you can afford Xavi, do you pick Xavi or stick with Kudus? If you got Kudus, I don't see why you sell him. Sar's 6.4 million. Yeah, but the problem is if I do Sar in, he's got Liverpool at home. And presumably he'll be back for that game, but how many minutes is he going to get? Plus you've got Europe starting up with Palace soon. But also that's exact money. So then maybe next week if Gabriel's going to go up in price, I've got to move early, and I don't really want to keep moving early unless I absolutely have to. Best 4.5 and 5 million defenders on wildcards. I did a wildcard video earlier if you want to check that out, but Anderson and Senesi are probably right up there. Dan Burns, okay, got defensive contributions today. Obviously, Cher didn't play. What are Newcastle's fixtures like? They've had quite a few clean sheets. Arsenal's not great. Brighton away in 8. Outside of that, the fixtures are okay. I mean, how... Oh, Dan Burns 5 million, though. Don't know about that, to be honest. He has hit defensive contributions in 3 of 5 games, but I feel like I'd rather spend less money than that. So, like, Senesi just looks pretty good. Richards, Van der Ven. How was the bench boost, Tom? 38 months, by the way. Bench boost was good. I got 18 points. So can't complain about that. I do think we maybe have to up our expectations from bench boost a little bit, because I said a kind of 8 to 10 points plus, but obviously with defensive contributions, players aren't starting on 2 anymore. They're starting on 4. I have Dango, Bruno G, and Sar. Which to deal with first? Well, Sar might be back. Bruno Gomes, I don't think he's a great FPL, but I guess Utara. If Sar's back this week, then probably Utara, because you just don't know if he's going to start. What about Game Week 7 wildcard if you've got 2 free transfers? But then you're going to use... So, no, I don't really think... I think if you've got 2 free transfers, you might as well just wildcard this week and save it till 7. I think it's 6 or 8, really. Because if you use 2 free transfers to get Haaland in, then you wildcard. Presumably you're going to keep Haaland, so how much stuff are you actually going to change? I think then you just wildcard 6 and have 2 free transfers for later on. Is it stupid to go Salah down to Gakpo to fund Haaland? I wouldn't say stupid, but I'm not sure this is the right time to jump on Gakpo with the next 2. Maybe we see Ekitike off the left at some point, maybe. Would you switch Porro or Munoz to Senesi or Gabriel? It feels bad to sell Porro this week, but I think longer term I'd prefer Munoz. And Senesi's better this week, but Gabriel I'd rather have longer term. Spurs next 2 are good. I've got a triple up. It's on wildcard. That's stupid. Also would have Murillo on wildcard, still wildcard 6 for my team. Again, you'd really have to just look for your plans over the next couple of weeks. Like, it's completely up to you whether you wildcard or not. And I wouldn't keep Murillo on wildcard, no chance. Gameris was benched this week for Lewis Miley, don't know why. Presumably just rotation because of Europe. Like Thursday to Sunday turnaround. Why is no one talking about Mark Gay? He's been one of the best defenders. Cheap. Yeah, he's good. But Richards is cheaper now. Do you really have to bring in Haaland? Nope. Do you think Chelsea will drop Sanchez once he's back? I don't think so. But what I do think is Maresca will get asked about it. And I think for stuff like that, he's pretty good with info. So I think he'll tell us. Triple Forest defence versus Sunderland next week is good, right? Amazing. Yeah. What do you think about Foden? Nice punt. Sell Mateta or João Pedro? Probably Mateta. You should show your points total in each video. I show it in my team selection video. I'm not really hiding it. Is it that useful in every video to see how many points I've got? Would you buy Senesi and Gabriel now to avoid the price rises? I would if I was on wildcard. Yeah. I don't think you need to rush out and buy them if you're not. Watkins hold for the next 2 weeks. I think that depends how many issues you've got. If you haven't got any issues and you can move Watkins on, then maybe consider it. But I still don't really know where you go, given that he's got Fulham at home, Burnley at home, which I know sounds crazy after he's blanked 5 games in a row. But is it the right day? Sorry, is it the right week to move to Yorkresh? Not sure about that. Haaland, of course, great. I wouldn't go Watkins to Evan Nielsen. Watkins to João Pedro, Brighton at home, then Liverpool. I don't know. I get it, right? Watkins might drop in price again. He's been rubbish. I really don't hate selling him. But who are people looking to buy if it's not Haaland? Who are you selling Watkins to? Higher priority to sell Watkins or Wirtz? Probably Wirtz. Yeah, Evan Nielsen, I don't hate it, but I'm not sure that's worth a transfer right now. I mean, Watkins to Evan Nielsen's fine, but if I was free hitting this week and you gave me a choice, Evan Nielsen or Watkins, I would choose Watkins. Is it that helpful to show my points total? Yes, it is. It's the whole point. But in every video, why does it matter what my points are in a game week preview video where I'm talking about captaincy? I can see Haaland being rested versus Burnley. Never happening. He's going to get a rest midweek for the Carabao Cup. What's the alternative to Yorkresh? I'm not really confident with him. If you've got Yorkresh, I just think you keep him, to be honest, for now. There is no way Watkins over Evan Nielsen on free hit. I probably would choose Watkins, home game. I mean, Fulham is a good defence, to be fair, but Leeds have not exactly been super leaky right now. I mean, for what it's worth, I wouldn't necessarily choose either. I'd have to think about that this week. But I think, yeah, if it's one or the other, Watkins or Evan Nielsen, I'd probably pick Watkins. Who to sell for Haaland? Mateta versus Watkins for Strand. Who to sell for Haaland? Mateta versus Strand Larsen. Probably Mateta. Watkins if the money helps. Did I miss the Bruno gloating, or are you staying classy? I think I've been pretty classy, no? Yeah, again, I'm not saying buy Ollie Watkins, and I'm not saying include Ollie Watkins on a free hit. I'm just saying, who are you selling him for? If the answer is Evan Nielsen, I'd rather save the transfer. Did Wolves put up 3xG versus Leeds? If they did, I'd take that all back, what I've just said about the Leeds defence. Maybe they're actually pretty terrible. Can I find that quick here? I probably can look it up. So Wolves against Leeds, they lost 3-1. Now, 1.78 XG. I mean, it's still pretty good. Leeds may be a bit lucky to win that game. Would you trade your Dewsbury Hall and Bruno Fernandes for Kudus and Reinders? No. I'd swap Reinders for Dewsbury Hall. Do you see Šeško as a potentially viable asset? I feel like Man United needs someone closer to the box for Mbeumo to play with. I probably wouldn't go there right now. It just feels so risky. But I think Šeško will probably get a run of minutes. But we could see, I guess Amad Diallo will go back to right wing back now. And then it'll be Mbeumo, Cunha, 10s behind Šeško. And Mount's there as well. We could see Cunha or Mbeumo up front and Mount and Cunha 10. Like, Cunha up front probably, and then Mount and Mbeumo as 10s. I would not risk Šeško. I think now he's starting, he'll continue to start. But it's just not a guarantee there. And, like, Man United, let's not go down the whole Man United are back. I don't understand why Sanchez got -1 point for those 2 conceded goals. He was off the pitch. Well, it's not really that stupid of a rule, right? Part of the reason they conceded was because he got sent off. Sanchez pushed me to wildcard. Sanchez is available for game week 6, by the way. Would you transfer Mateta or Watkins for Haaland? I think Mateta just because he's playing Liverpool this week and Watkins has got Burnley next week. But the money might be more useful by selling Watkins. It really depends on your team. When am I doing the Haaland transfer? Potentially tonight. One question though, has Pep Guardiola been asked about Haaland after the game? Because obviously I came to stream straight away. Because I think Haaland was obviously sub on 75 minutes and we didn't really expect that. But possibly it was just because he was defending. I don't know, he'd done a lot of work, played a lot of minutes recently. I'm not sure. Mikel Arteta says Madueke had an issue and wasn't well enough to continue in the second half. Interesting. Maybe Saka's the one. By the way, it was such a good finish from Martinelli's goal. Has anyone seen anything? He said Haaland was tired. He was looking tired. But is that actually what he said? I can't see anything. I'm looking through the quotes now. Yeah, I didn't really see him struggling at any point, to be honest. Going Van der Ven and then move to Anderson in game week 10, is that stupid? No, not stupid. If you're using Van der Ven a lot over the next few weeks. If it's just once or twice, I'd maybe even just go Anderson from the start to save yourself a transfer. Transfer out Palmer or Gakpo. Let's wait and see what Maresca says, but probably Palmer if he's going to be a doubt. Sales, Munoz, Richards, Milenkovic, Palmer, Semenyo, Bruno, Reinders, Watkins, Wood, and Mateta on bench. Aitner, Verts, and Tosin probably seems like needs a wild card. Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. Bench boost with Dubravka, Van Dijk, Dewsbury Hall, and Estev. I think that's one too many Burnley guys. Yeah, City away, not ideal. Yeah, they could get defensive contributions. I don't hate it because of Van Dijk and Dewsbury Hall. So it depends whether you're going to get like a much better one later on. Njai or Reinders? Yeah, I think Njai is better, but just think about whether that money for Reinders would be more useful to you. Would you captain Reinders over Salah? No. I still think Salah's probably the second best captain this week behind Haaland. Let's not write Salah off too quickly, you know? Kudos or Reinders, bench one for game week 6. Ooh. Probably Reinders. But that feels bad. You must have someone else you can bench instead. Best defenders for defensive contributions. Probably Anderson, Senesi, Tarkovsky, all right up there. How many transfers do you think Haaland will have by the next deadline? I'm not sure. He's only actually got, like, so far this week, probably because he only got 1 goal. But so far this week, he's only on 200,000 transfers in, which actually feels quite low. Like, for example, Semenyu's on 141,000 in. So he's not that far behind. Gravenberch, 85,000. Grealish getting another 73,000. I think Grealish is such an... Like, he's a good pick, but I think he's slightly overrated. Yeah, Haaland will probably push 500k to 1 million, I guess. But a lot of people probably already own him. Like, he's already quite popular. Like, he's obviously done well before, you know, the last week or two. He's already 40% owned overall. Have Haaland thinking Sanchez, Murillo, Verts to Raya, Gabriel, Semenyo, all 3 free transfers, but then I have to do it today because the price changes. Would you do it or wildcard? Wildcarding when you got Haaland doesn't seem great. I would probably just do Sanchez and Verts to 2 of them. Maybe just keep Murillo 1 more week. Sanchez is eligible to play game week 6 yet because he serves his 1 game suspension in the Carabao Cup. The Arsenal goal wasn't a result of poor goalkeeping, was it? Donnarumma looked good for the most part. I I'd have to go back and watch. I'm not trying to get out of answering the question. I'd have to go back and watch it. I feel like the run was just really good. Could Donnarumma have got out quicker? Maybe. Should he have stayed on his closer to his line? I don't know. I don't think Donnarumma was massively at fault, but I'd have to go and watch it again. I just feel like it was a really good run. It was a really good pass, and it was a really good finish. Maybe Donnarumma should stay back. I don't know. I think it's a bit harsh to say that Donnarumma was massively at fault. I thought he had a really good game. I thought he had a really good game overall, and I don't think it was massively his fault for that goal. Who do you replace for Haaland? João Pedro, Mateta, Gyökeres? Probably Mateta. Although I feel like I need to see some more from Gyökeres before I can fully get behind that pick. Why wouldn't you keep Bruno on wildcard? I probably would keep him. Gyökeres was invisible today. Did he even have a shot? All the hype for nothing. But I mean, when you say stuff like that, isn't that just kind of nonsense? Who was hyping up Gyökeres for Man City at home? Honestly. Who was got to get Gyökeres in this week? He's playing Man City. I don't think anyone did that, did they? Kuda 7-pointer from 2 attacking returns feels so rubbish. I also thought that earlier, yeah. He did get a yellow card, which probably hurt his bonus a bit. But yeah, I saw that. 7 points, 2 returns. You want a bit more than that. Ekitike to Isak this week or hold? I'd probably hold. If Isak starts midweek, Ekitike might start again at the weekend. Or I would do Ekitike to someone else not called Isak. On wildcards, does it make sense to have both Salah and Haaland? I did a whole wildcard video earlier if you want to check it out. I think it's viable, yes. Not seen anyone better at clearing the area than Donnarumma. Seems pretty rare now. Yeah, I said this earlier. He's quite dominant in that City box. Sell one of Mateta or Wood for Haaland. I mean, Wood is better this week, but I prefer Mateta longer term. So, wildcarding 8. If you can keep Wood, then maybe... I guess playing Wood next week's okay. Yeah, I'd probably hold Wood in that case. I feel like all the mids below 7.5 million seem a bit rubbish, like Njai and Reinders, the front runners. I think Kudus is okay. I think Njai is okay. I think Reinders is okay. Stack's okay. Matoma's not bad. He's okay as well, I guess. Minter, if he keeps playing, is okay. There's a lot of options, but we haven't... What I don't think we have right now, outside of maybe Semenyo, but I'm not sure he's going to be quite as good. We don't have like an Mbeumo from last year, where Mbeumo was just absolutely nailed on, good goal threat, good creativity, on penalties. We don't have that kind of player. I think that's why those players in and around that price don't feel quite as exciting. There's probably someone I've missed now. There's probably a 6.5 million well, Njai's actually nailed on penalties. Maybe doesn't have quite as much goal threat and creativity as Mbeumo did last year, but not that far off, I suppose. So Njai's probably the closest. I really like the Njai pick. If he was 6.3 million, I'd probably be going for him over Reinders. Should I get Haaland, Palmer, and Njai for free, or get Gyökeres, Saka instead of Palmer? Preference for Saka or Gyökeres? I think I still just about prefer Gyökeres. I'm wavering a little bit. I'd like another week or two to decide. I wouldn't buy Palmer right now. Team is sells. Yeah, thanks very much, Valpav. I already answered that, though. I think you asked earlier, and I said, yeah, probably. It doesn't feel great to wildcard that team, but I also don't hate it either. Tosin's... I mean, Tosin probably starts the next game, but he got benched. He's not good long term. Verts is a slight issue. You could get Haaland in on wildcard, etc. It's probably worth a wildcard, I would say, just about. I love Fernandes, but if I need the money, is a good one to drop. Potentially, yes. Depends what the alternative is, I suppose. If dropping Bruno is your only really good way to get Haaland, for example, I'd probably consider it. Eze's been taken out of the equation after his move to Arsenal. Yeah, he's not an option for me. I just... he's going to start the majority... I was saying, Martinelli will probably take minutes off of Eze. What happened today? Trossard started instead of both of them. I just got no interest in that, to be honest. Now, if there's a few injuries... not that I'm wishing injuries on anyone, but if a few injuries... Let's say Trossard and Martinelli get injured, well, all of a sudden, Eze, great option. And also, when Eze came on, he played central anyway. So when Odegaard's back, that's another player that can play in that kind of role. Yeah, it's just too much of a... Arsenal's just got too much squad depth right now. Like, if Havertz was fit, I wouldn't even have Gyökeres. Thoughts on double Bournemouth defence? I do not mind it. I did on my wildcard draft. The wildcard draft I did earlier. I did have Verbruggen instead of Petrovic just to leave the Evan Nielsen route open. But if you're okay with blocking that, I don't mind it. There's probably not too many other Bournemouth players you would want. Would you wildcard 6 if you already free hit 4? If you need it, you need it. You're not making early moves to avoid Haaland going up. I might do. I'm not going to decide right now. I need a little bit more time to think. And I'm not trying to not tell you. Let me just say, but by tonight, I will probably do Salah and Mateta to Reinders and Haaland. But I just want to give it a little bit more thought. Because that Salah and Gyökeres to Saka and Haaland sounds quite nice. I probably won't do that. But it does sound nice and differential. I think I just want to get Gabriel in. I think if I get Gabriel in for Goodmanson, famous last words, but Gabriel, Van Dijk, Senesi, Anderson, Lacroix, I basically just don't make a defender transfer for a very long time. And also, I've looked at plans up to like game week 12, and there is a chance I could play 5 at the back that week, and that just sounds quite nice to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost sure it was game week 6 last season when everyone went Salah to Haaland, killed a lot of seasons that... Yes, it did. But it was a slightly different situation. So I had Haaland, I sold to Salah in 5, then I wildcarded Haaland back in, then I sold Haaland in game week 10. And that kind of saved my season quite a lot. It does feel a little bit different this year, but one of the reasons it feels different is because Salah went on to absolutely smash the FPL record. He's just not going to do that this year. Like, he'll score really well, but he probably won't even break his original record. Like, he might not even break 250 points. Now, part of that will be because of African Cup of Nations, of course. But like Salah will not score as many points as last year, and that's not. I mean, I said that in pre-season. Some people thought that was like controversial, a small minority. But I mean, I tell you now, that is not a hot take. That's a very cold take. So it doesn't feel quite the same, but I know what you mean. Also, I saw someone say that this is Haaland's worst start to the season in terms of goals scored in a Man City shirt, which is kind of crazy. But in terms of the chances he's generating, it's still pretty damn good. Haaland, João Pedro, and who else on wildcard? I don't like Gyökeres. Evan Nielsen, Strand Larsen. You could just go cheap like Foster at Burnley. If you want someone in and around the 7.5, you can maybe just go for Mateta and bench him this week. I don't hate that either. I probably will do my transfers tonight, but because Salah's not going to drop, there's part of me that just thinks to let Haaland rise and give myself another few days to think about it. But the problem with that is I'm probably just going to buy Reinders. And I'm pretty confident that Reinders and Haaland are just going to get the night off for the Carabao Cup game. I just don't see why Pep would play them against Huddersfield. So at that point, the only thing I'm worried about is one of those two players getting an injury in training, which would obviously be annoying, or someone else getting injured in my team, which might have changed my transfers. The reason that I'm slightly worried about making that move early is I don't have a wild card to bail me out now. And if Haaland gets injured, then what's the move? It's straight back to Salah. And all of a sudden, that's a -8. Now, I guess my backup plan is to captain Bruno, but it ain't great. I guess I could free hit if things went really bad. If Haaland got injured, I could free hit. But that also doesn't feel great. I guess I do have that as insurance. Yeah, I could play Paquetá, of course, but it's just not great, is it? Then again, free hit might not be that bad, because if Haaland was to get injured, then I don't need him long term anyway. So I just go into game week 7 with 2 free transfers. Really not that bad. I have a good team this week, but no Arsenal or Chelsea. What do you think about free hit 7 and wildcard 8 so you get more information about Saka, Palmer, and Iza? I don't think you need to free hit 7. Doesn't seem like a great week to me. You can just pick up 1 or 2 Arsenal the next couple of weeks, right? And also, I don't think it's a big issue not having Chelsea outside of João Pedro. And look, I hate to say this, because I know people will get the pitchforks out. João Pedro is not essential. He's a really good pick. Relax, people. He's a really good pick. But you shouldn't. I don't think you should blow a chip in game week 7 just because you haven't got João Pedro, you know? I don't really understand why Nico Williams is being sold before Sunderland at home. It's just wildcards, probably. It doesn't make sense to keep Forest players on wildcard. What would you suggest? Raya versus Newcastle or Vicario versus Wolves? I'd probably play Vicario. Don't you have any players who haven't got any price rises tied up in to get Haaland and Reinders as placeholders? Not sure what you mean. I'm in a similar situation. Don't have wildcard. Have Reinders and Salah. Want to switch Salah for Haaland and Foden. Nice. When is the best time to bring in João Pedro? I mean, this week's not bad because it's Brighton at home. And then after Liverpool in 7, you've got Forest in 8. But otherwise, 8 or 9. Probably still pretty good. Like, surely João Pedro's not getting a huge amount more price rises, given that he's already owned by everyone anyway. Is Saka a good option with no penalties? I think he is pretty good because of the fixtures that are coming out. Like, he still takes some set pieces, right? But I don't know. Like, if Madueke's out for a while, then I quite like Saka. But if Madueke's back soon, there's a lot of competition for minutes. And by the way, I don't think Madueke's going to start over Saka when Saka's fit. But you can sub early. Sorry, you can sub Saka a lot earlier than you used to be able to when you've got Madueke waiting. So if he's now 10 million and he doesn't have penalties and he could get subbed around 70, 75, I think he's okay. And I think he's okay more because Palmer's a slight doubt and there's not really a huge amount of other expensive midfielders people want right now. So by default, he's still an okay pick. But if everybody, let's just, obviously this can't happen, but let's just say every player in the game was fully fit, available, and had good fixtures, and you could pick anyone. I don't think you'd pick Saka. It's almost like he's okay because the other options are just bad right now. Do you like Njai enough to recommend Dewsbury Hall to Njai for free? I think that's an okay move. I think with those kind of moves, just always be conscious that you're moving money into a certain position. So like you're spreading the money around, which is not a problem if it gives you stronger options. But it might make it more difficult in the future to make moves. Like you have to make more moves to get that money back elsewhere, if that makes sense. Why is Wildcard 7 not really a thing? Because... well, it could be a thing, but I really think if you're wildcarding in 7 or 8, you're wildcarding to not have Haaland. So if you wildcard in 7, you're basically getting your Arsenal players in and probably losing Haaland and getting Salah back, even though Haaland's arguably the best captain that week. And it doesn't make sense to wildcard in 7 if you're going to get Haaland, because if so, why would you not just get Haaland this week? So either you go in 6 and get Haaland now, or you've already got Haaland, in which case you go 8 to get Salah back. 7 just doesn't make much sense to me. Am I tempted at all by an Arsenal fullback? No, I'm not going to. If I've got the money, I'm buying Gabriel. I just want those minutes. I know Timber and Calafiori look really good right now, honestly, and they probably continue to start. But if someone said to me, let's just say game week 7, West Ham at home, someone said, I've got some news. One of the back 4, Timber, Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, has been changed to someone else. Your first thought is, I wonder if it's Saliba or Gabriel. It's straight away, it's one of the fullbacks. So for that reason, I just don't want to buy him. And by the way, if Calafiori keeps starting, I really like him. But I just can't be bothered with the... I want as few players as possible that I have to check the team sheet to make sure they're starting. That's it. Like Gyökeres, I checked the team sheet today because I still wasn't 100% sure. Everyone else in my team, they start every game. No issues whatsoever. And I like that. And I know it's boring. I know people don't want to hear that, right? You want flair picks. You want players that probably aren't going to start, but when they do, they're going to do really well. I just prefer to make my life easy and get players that are going to play. And so it's always Gabriel for me. Plus, he's just a threat from set pieces. Anyone taking notes for Isidore at home can't stop scoring. Could be great as long as my ender doesn't come in. Zoidberg 3000, member for 25 months. Thank you. Wildcard hit. Watkins, Verts, and Sanchez was enough to push me into it. I had 3 free transfers. Will I get them back? Yes. Game week 7 onwards, you'll have 3 free transfers. Really strong position. in fact, pretty jealous. You can get Haaland, 3 transfers, you roll in game week 7, 4 transfers in game week 8, and then you can decide whether you want Salah back. If you don't, you keep rolling, and if you do, you just get him back because you can easily do it. Is triple up on Arsenal defence too crazy on wildcard? No, not too crazy. I'm tripled up on Everton attack for West Ham at home. Enjoy Dewsbury Hall and Barry. Looking forward to big points. Good luck. Surely Barry's going to get a run of starts at some point. Beto hasn't looked great when he's played for the most part, I think. Sell Salah and Mateta for Harden and Reinders. Yeah, that's going to be pretty popular. The only tough fixture for Man City for a long time is Liverpool in game week 11. Don't think I'm bringing Salah back for a while. Yes, basically. And obviously that week Salah is playing Man City anyway. But I think you can make an argument that in a few weeks from game week 8 to 12, Salah's the best option for captaincy. But in my opinion, it's not by so much that it's a problem. So like if you look at some of the future weeks, game week, and by the way, right, when I say this, I'm not saying you have to sell Haaland back to Salah, but just try and think of it from a free hit perspective maybe. Like if you're on free hit in game week 8 and you could choose Salah against Man United at home, or Haaland against Everton at home, who would you choose? I suspect right now, when Salah's only got an assist and Haaland scored again against the best defence in the league, most people would choose Haaland. But you could make an argument that Salah is better. Because Man United do have a problem with kind of capitulating sometimes in games like that. Yeah, both is obviously... Yeah, okay, on free hit, you probably go both. But I'm only giving you one or the other as an option. Game week 9, Salah is... Where is he? Why can't I see Liverpool? Away to Brentford. That's probably better than away to Villa. But again, there's not a massive amount in it. So if you have to keep Haaland, it's not a problem. But I would maybe argue Salah's better because Brentford not looking great. I know Villa aren't looking great either. I still probably rather play Brentford. And then game week 10 is Villa at home for Liverpool and City is Bournemouth at home. Bournemouth definitely better than Villa. So that's why I'm saying wildcard 8 is probably to get Salah back because arguably he's better option than Haaland. But it's really small margins. It's not a problem just to carry Haaland through, in my opinion. Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. Villa away for Haaland is not a bad fixture. Like, please, that is not what I'm saying. I just think that Brentford away is a better fixture. That's all. Genuinely can't think of any big midfielders who I want. Maybe Bruno, but I'm sick of Watkins, Rodgers, and Wirtz. Yeah, fair enough. There isn't many, like Saka's an option now, of course. Palmer might still be an option, but there's just slight doubts around all of them, I think. Honestly, I've looked through... Now, things always change quickly in FPL, but I've looked through my plans for, like, just rough plans, right? I'm not locking anything in, but rough plans up to, like, game week 12. Basically, it's get Haaland this week, get Gabriel in 7, and then just roll for quite a while and just keep playing my defenders who get defensive contributions every week. Maybe get João Pedro in 9, maybe get Palmer if he's an option. If not, just roll. And then decide when to get Salah back later. It's pretty boring. But the defense just holds up. Like, the defense I've got just holds up pretty nicely. So there's just no point overthinking it right now. Like, defensive contributions just... I just feel like that gives me even less reason to sell them, basically. Van de Ven to Senesi. Long term, you can maybe do that, but ultimately, Van de Ven's pretty good this week, right? Against Wolves at home. I wouldn't be in a rush to sell him. Wouldn't you go Donnarumma over Raya or not? If the option's one Arsenal... If it's one Arsenal, one Man City, one's got to be a goalkeeper, one's got to be a defender, then yes, I would go Donnarumma and Gabriel over Raya and Vardiol. But it doesn't have to be one or the other, right? It can be Raya and Gabriel. So it depends. But yeah, I quite like the Donnarumma pick. Really do. I see a lot of people going there this week. Would it make more sense for me to free hit this week than wildcard 7? I don't think so. I think you would just wildcard now. Is Timber nailed? I spoke about this just a minute ago. Is he nailed his first choice? Nailed? I don't think you can say that. I don't think he's nailed. Is Vardiol nailed this season? He's definitely first choice. He'll probably start the majority of games. Is he absolutely nailed? Maybe, but he's not Van Dijk levels of nailed, I don't think. He's probably close to it, though. Donnarumma appeals for the saves, but not sure about the clean sheets. I think Man City will be definitely top 5, probably top 3 defence this year, but I still think they'll be a little bit behind Arsenal, as most teams are every season. In Game Week 9, we all captain Palmer anyway, but do we though? Do we? What if he's still struggling with this groin problem? What if he gets rested? Yeah, rested. I thought I said arrested then. Hopefully he's not going to get arrested. I need him for Game Week 6. Do we think Wood is going to drop in price? Possibly. I would have to double check. But honestly, if you've got him, I'd probably just keep him as Sunderland. Take the price hit on the chin. Not the end of the world. Yeah, if he gets arrested, I might sell him. But I don't really want to sell Semenyo unless I have to. Bench Wood or Reinders Game Week 6? Probably Reinders, but again, that is horrible. Surely you can bench someone else. Have you found any Salah and Haaland drafts you like? I did a wildcard video earlier, and there's a Haaland Salah draft in that. What happened to Chris the Inevitable Wood being essential? Yeah, that was a fun time before the West Ham game. That was a fun time. We should, honestly, right, you should write notes about what's happened over the first few weeks, just to compare to next season. Not you personally, but just people in general, myself included. Just to kind of show like how many times people panicked about certain players and how often it actually worked. Because honestly, there's been so much. As there's a reason this stream is called the knee-jerk stream, right? Lots of knee-jerking every single week, but there's always like this panic. And I really just think like one bit of advice is someone who's a bit of an idiot and not really great at FPL. You don't always have to have like this extreme opinion. Like it's often a lot of a closer call than that. Like players don't often. Oh, here we go. FPL. Harry, I'm not giving you advice. You're the top 10k man. You should be on the stream now telling me. Should I panic on Watkins and Rodgers? I don't see it with Watkins. Rodgers is a bit more annoying, especially when you got someone like Semenyo for a similar price. It's really difficult though. Like put it this way, I know if I got myself stuck with Watkins and Rodgers, I'd probably be holding both of them. I'm almost certain I'd be holding Watkins. Almost certain. But it's tough. We discussed it earlier. I don't know who I would sell Watkins for right now. That feels like a priority. I just don't see it. Apart from Haaland, of course, but most people are going to sell a different player to get Haaland. Already knee-jerked and sold Sanchez for Raya. Fair enough. Best 7.8 million midfielder except Xavi and Semenyo. I've already got Grealish, Chanot and Jai. I would probably go cheap and just get Reinders. I knee-jerk Watkins and Rodgers out, but is it knee-jerking after 5 weeks? No, probably not. I completely get it, honestly. It depends who you've sold them to. Like we were talking about earlier, Watkins to Evan Nielsen, people thinking about that? Not a great move for me. I'd rather roll. Worth selling Pope, 2 free transfers, but have Wirtz and Rodgers. I'd probably just keep Pope for now. That feels like a lower priority move, to be honest with you. Do you laugh when people say you creators have similar wildcard? Honestly, I get so... Anytime someone says, why do all you content creators or something like that, I just... Most of the time I just ignore it or I just mute the person. Because I'm not really bothered about what everyone is doing. And so, people always lump everyone together. Most of the time I ignore those kind of questions. Why are all these content creators? I don't know. You have to go and ask them. What are you asking me for? Feel free to ask me for something I've said. Why did you say that? That's fine. Bench boost was a success. Current team: Sanchez, Senesi, Park, Senesi, nice. Anderson, Bruno. Benches: Dubravka, Reinders, Mo, Wirtz, Mateta to Semenyo and Jai, Haaland. Triple captain for -4. -4. Do you know what? I don't hate it, especially for triple captain. Why is everyone buying Bruno? I don't know. Why did all content creators go for Bruno this season? Don't know. For the Defcons, I think. Did you prefer peak Neighbours or Home and Away? Neighbours. 100%. I used to watch Neighbours all the time. Never missed it. In fact, I when I worked at Curry's, we used to get really good deals on Sky. And so in my house, I had Sky in my bedroom before the house, before my mum and dad actually had Sky. So I had it in the bedroom, Sky dish outside the house, and I used to series link Neighbours and watch it. Loved it. Home and away, not so much. Eze seems more essential to Arsenal than Saka. Not sure about that. I would still say that Saka's Arsenal's best attacker, to be honest. Eze's very good. Love the guy, but I think Saka's still pretty important. What was the least favourite job you had? I don't know if I worked in a bakery when I was like, I think I was like 14 or something. But they thought I was already 15, close to 16 or something like that. I didn't really like that, to be honest. Having to like talk to people. Wasn't ready for it at that age. Should have adopted the handle FPL Toadfish. Toady, what a guy. Have I watched the US Office yet? Since yesterday morning, have I watched the whole US Office? No. I guess you don't necessarily mean all of it, but still. Thoughts on the mighty Dan Burn? 5 million, he's okay. On wildcard, start with Donnarumma and Evan Nielsen for Game Week 6, then transfer them out for Raya and York. No. Just start with whoever you want in 7. Very nervous to go near City defence, not a club that loves a clean sheet in recent years. I think Donnarumma's going to help a little bit. Caicedo better than Reinders for long term. Not if Reinders keeps playing 90 minutes. He's got 5 90 minutes in a row. I think we've got to take notice of that. Who do you prefer between Vardio and Donnarumma? Vardio, but again, it's about the combination. I'd prefer to have Donnarumma and Gabriel than Raya and Vardio, I think. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I think we are going through stuff we've already talked about quite a bit, which is normal for this stream. Don't mind it, but I think we've done enough for now. So if you did enjoy that, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I'll be back tomorrow for some early thoughts. As I said earlier, not trying to hide it or anything like that, I will probably do Salah and Mateta to Reinders and Haaland later this evening, but I just want to think about it a little bit. But I don't see, I just like the route to Gabriel. I think it works quite nicely. Any chance of a double game week the first 18 months? There's a chance of a double game week in the first half of the season, but I don't know how likely it is. I think there's a higher chance that we have a blank, but the double goes into the second half of the season. And I think we will know more this week once the Carabao Cup draw has been done. So if you can save one chip for later on, that might be useful. But I wouldn't panic about it too much. Because if only the blank happens and there's no double, then I don't think that really matters, to be honest. You just don't own those players for the blank. They're probably not going to, like Palace and Leeds players, for example, are probably not going to be massively essential that you'll have to hold through. Everybody needs good neighbours. That is true. On that note, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will catch you again soon.